Hey everyone, this is Michael again, and welcome to the Monday Night Raw review. Monday Night Raw tonight was from the Moody Center in Austin, Texas. And Monday Night Raw tonight, I thought it was an okay show, in my opinion. It was definitely not as good as last week's show, but still, an okay show it was. But tonight on Monday Night Raw, we had Damian Priest in action, and he had taken on Carlito. Odyssey Jones was also in action, and he had taken on Vincent Winey. We had a Texas Tornado tag team match, where it was the Creed brothers, Bruce and Julius Creed versus Otis and Akira Tozawa of the Alpha Academy. We had a number of contenders match for the Women's Tag Team Championship, Kairi, Sane, and Io Sky versus the Pure Fusion Collective, which the Pure Fusion Collective is the new name for Shayna Baszler and Zoe Stark and Sonya Deville, their group. And I'm like, what is a Pure Fusion Collective? And then we have Bronson Reed. He was in action, and he had taken on The Miz. And Bronson Reed tonight, he did the same thing like he did to Seth Rollins last week, which I will get to when I talk about that. And the main event, we had a 2 out of 3 falls match for the Intercontinental Championship. Bron Breakker defended the title against SAMI ZAYN. But overall, Monday Night Raw, it was an okay show tonight. But before I get into the review, if you guys haven't checked out my previous video that I uploaded earlier today, I did a DVD, Blu-ray, 4K, and Laserdisc update. So if you guys haven't checked that out, definitely give it a watch. Decent titles that I showed in the update, so definitely check it out. But anyway, let's jump right into the review. Monday Night Raw opened up tonight with Rhea Ripley, Mommy. She ended up coming out. She got a huge pop from the crowd there in Austin, Texas. So Rhea got into the ring. She got on the mic. And Rhea ended up saying that she has had a lot of time to think about what happened at SummerSlam. She ended up saying that she has relieved it in her head every day since it happened. And she felt every single emotion you can feel in this kind of a situation. She ended up saying that she was embarrassed and heartbroken. But Rhea ended up saying now she feels pissed the hell off. Rhea then looked at the camera. She ended up telling Dominic that he stabbed her in the back. And maybe he has heard it before, but it just wasn't deep enough. And then Rhea turned her attention to Liv Morgan. She ended up saying that Liv Morgan managed to run away with her championship, but she can't run forever. Rhea ended up saying that she is Rhea Bloody Ripley, and it is time she reminds Liv and Dominic who she is. So we heard Liv end up laughing on the mic, and Liv and Dominic were standing in between the crowd. Liv got on the mic. She ended up telling Rhea that Dominic has something he wants to get off his chest. So, of course, boos rang out for Dominic as he began to speak. So Dominic ended up asking Rhea if she knows why he left her for Liv. So the fans still booed Dominic very loudly, and Rhea was like to the fans, No, I want to hear what Dominic has to say, because she likes to hear excuses. Dominic then continued to speak as the fans end up booing him. So Dominic ended up saying that he is a man and he deserves to be treated like one. To which that led the fans to chant, "You suck," to Dominic. Dominic ended up saying that Rhea tried to change him. He ended up saying that it was embarrassing for Rhea to be bossing him around. A grown man calling her mommy. And Dominic ended up saying now he has a girl in Liv Morgan who calls him daddy. Dominic ended up saying that Liv gives him chicken tenders when he wants. She lets him play video games when he wants. And Liv lets Dominic be him. And Dominic ended up saying that Liv did something Rhea could never do. Dominic ended up saying that Liv finally helped him beat his deadbeat dad in Rey Mysterio. So Rhea ended up saying that she will say something that Dominic probably hasn't heard in a long time. Rhea ended up saying that she is proud of Dominic, and that she is proud of everything that he has accomplished in the last couple of years. She ended up saying watching Dominic grow into the man he is today is one of her biggest accomplishments. She ended up saying that Dominic finally did something for himself, and he won the gold. Rhea ended up saying the one thing is that when it comes to Dominic's dad, Rey, she just wanted him to beat him on his own because she didn't want any excuses that that Dominic was better than Rey. But Rhea ended up saying now, since Dominic wants to make his own decisions like a man, she should be proud of him for that too. Rhea ended up saying that the thing is that it's the last decision he is ever going to make. So Liv began to speak. She ended up telling Rhea that there is only one thing Rhea said that was true, and that is that Dominic is a man, and that he is all hers. So Liv ended up saying that Rhea has nothing. Rhea has no family, and that her real family is a million miles away. And the family Rhea thought she found at Judgment Day, she took them. Liv ended up saying that Dominic is hers. She then held up the Women's World Championship. She ended up saying, this title is mine. She then ended up telling Rhea that the women's division is hers. And everything Rhea loved is all hers. So Rhea then ended up laughing, and she ended up asking Liv, oh, are you done? Because she would love for her to shut the hell up. Rhea ended up saying that Liv has taken a lot from her. A lot of her weaklings. Rhea ended up saying that the one thing she did wrong was that she left her standing because she is going to come for her. And she was going to have to kill her to stop her. Of course, she was talking about Liv Morgan. And Rhea ended up saying that it's flattering that she likes the sound of her own voice. Because it allows them to find out where they are. So Damian Priest stepped in behind Dominic and Liv. Priest then grabbed Dominic and threw him into the wall. And both Priest and Dominic end up fighting into the concourse where the concession stands are. Liv then jumped onto Damian Priest's back. And in came Rhea Ripley. Liv Morgan then ran away. Rhea ended up chasing Liv out the door. Priest then delivered some right hands onto Dominic, and both Priest and Dominic started fighting down the stairs, heading toward the ring. So both Priest and Dominic got into the ring. Dominic delivered a right hand to Priest, but Priest ended up grabbing Dominic. Carlito then ended up coming into the ring. Carlito ended up hitting Priest from behind, and that led to Dominic escaping out of the ring. Priest then ended up hitting Carlito with a big boot, and then Priest delivered a clothesline to Carlito to the outside, and that was pretty much how the segment ended. But overall, I thought this was a decent segment to open, Monday Night Raw here. Rhea coming out saying, that Dominic ended up stabbing her in the back, and Liv Morgan, managed to run away with a title, and that Liv Morgan can't run forever because Rhea's going to take back the Women's World Championship. And that's going to happen at Bad Blood in Atlanta. So Liv Morgan is just, making that title warm until it goes back to Rhea Ripley. And from what I heard, the Judgment Day is going to get a new name. Rumors possible that I saw is that the new name for Judgment Day will be called Street Trash. Really? What the fuck kind of name is that for a group? Street Trash? That's a name that Vince McMahon, if he was still in charge, would call a group. Come on, I hope that's not the new name for Judgment Day. Give me a break. Street Trash. Can you imagine, Samantha Irvin getting on the mic and saying, "Oh, in the ring, Street Trash." Can you imagine that? I'd be laughing every single time that the name is announced. Please, I hope that's not what they're going for, the name of the group. New name for Judgment Day. Please, no. And as Monday Night Raw came back from the commercial, we had the first match of the night. Damian Priest versus Carlito. And I thought this was a very mid-match, in my opinion. This was mediocre, in my opinion. Match got underway. Priest delivered a big boot onto Carlito. And I say, what was with Carlito's boots that he was wearing tonight? He was wearing one black boot and one white boot. Did he forget which boot that, he wanted to go with tonight? He comes out there wearing a black boot and a white boot. So Priest then delivered some kicks and a right hand to Carlito. Priest ended up going for the South of Heaven, but Carlito ended up rolling outside the ring. Priest then chased Carlito around the ring and threw him back, inside the ring. Priest ended up going for the Razor's Edge, but Carlito ended up flipping out of that. Carlito ended up laying on his feet, and he ended up delivering the DDT to Priest. Carlito ended up going for the cover. Priest then kicked out. Carlito ended up going for a right hand, but Priest came back and delivered a right hand to Carlito. Priest then ended up delivering the flatliner. He ended up going for the cover, and Carlito kicked out. Priest then climbed to the top rope, but Carlito hit the ropes, tripping Priest on the top rope. Carlito then climbed up to the second rope, and he ended up landing a suplex to Damian Priest. Nice suplex from Carlito at this point. And then Monday Night Raw went to commercial. Then when Monday Night Raw came back from the commercial, Carlito was in control of the match. He delivered a running knee to Priest, which he followed up with a clothesline. Carlito then delivered a swinging neckbreaker to Priest. He went for the cover. Priest kicked out. Carlito then ended up running to the ropes, and Priest delivered a spinning heel kick to Carlito. Priest then delivered a forearm to Carlito's face, and then delivered a right hand. Priest then delivered a running flying elbow in the corner to Carlito. So Priest then went for the broken arrow, which was followed up by a kick to the side of Carlito's head. Priest then delivered the South of Heaven. He ended up going for the cover, and there you go. Damian Priest ended up winning the match. Post-match, JD McDonough ended up attacking Priest from behind, but Priest delivered a right hand to McDonough, and that led to Balor, Dominic, and Liv Morgan running into the ring. Balor and Dominic delivered some kicks onto Priest, and out came Rhea Ripley. Carlito then ended up running to the outside. Rhea delivered a right hand to Carlito. So Balor was stuck between both Damian Priest and Rhea Ripley in the middle of the ring. Priest ended up going for a super kick to Balor, but JD McDonough ended up pushing Balor out of the way, and JD McDonough sacrificed Balor, and he took that super kick from Priest. So Balor went to the outside of the ring. Priest delivered a South of Heaven onto JD McDonough, and Priest and Rhea Ripley ended up hugging in the ring, and all you just saw was Dominic. He was on the top rope. Dominic jumped off the top rope as Priest and Rhea Ripley were hugging it out. Priest then caught Dominic coming off the top rope. So Priest ended up throwing Dominic onto Rhea, and Rhea ended up going for the riptide on Dominic, but Liv ended up pulling Dominic down to the outside, and the New Judgment Day ended up heading to the back. as Priest and Rhea Ripley were still standing in the ring. So pretty much that was basically that. But overall, very mediocre match between Damian Priest and Carlito. Obviously, we all knew who was going to win. And then we had the Alpha Academy. We saw Maxine Dupree and Otis and Akira Tozawa. So in came Ivy Nile. Ivy Nile ended up telling Maxine that maybe she should not be ringside for the Texas Tornado tag team match later on in the night. Maxine ended up telling Ivy Nile that the Alpha Academy are her family. So Ivy ended up telling Maxine that she understands. Ivy ended up understanding that the Alpha Academy is Maxine's family. So Ivy ended up walking away. And pretty much that was basically that. And then as Monday Night Raw came back from the commercial, we got a Uncle Howdy vignette. So we saw Bo Dallas. Bo Dallas ended up saying that there have been a lot of emotions, especially after last week, because last week was the in-ring debut of the Wyatt Six, where they ended up taking on Chad Gable and the Creed brothers. So very good main event it was for last week's Monday Night Raw between them. So Bo Dallas ended up saying that the work isn't done. And he repeatedly ended up saying, "My life for you." And pretty much, that was that. The screen ended up going to blue. And there you go. But we'll have to see what's next for the Wyatt Six. And then we saw Odyssey Jones. Odyssey Jones was with Kofi Kingston. Odyssey Jones made his main roster debut last week on Monday Night Raw. And I was thinking that Odyssey Jones was going to be the third member of the New Day. And they're not playing it out like that, as I thought. Because I thought it would just be him, Kofi Kingston, and Xavier Woods. Odyssey Jones, would be a good replacement for Big E, but I don't think it's going in that direction. So in came Xavier Woods. Kofi Kingston was all excited. He ended up telling Xavier Woods that Odyssey Jones will have his in-ring debut tonight on Monday Night Raw. So Kofi Kingston and Odyssey Jones end up walking away. Xavier Woods ended up looking on, and he was not impressed. He wasn't. So we all know where this is going to go. And as Monday Night Raw came back for the commercial, we had the in-ring debut of Odyssey Jones, making his Monday Night Raw in-ring debut. And he ended up taking on Vincent Winey. And this was a squash match. This was a momentum match for Odyssey Jones to showcase what he could do in the ring. So Odyssey Jones ended up winning the match. Jones delivered a spinning sidewalk slam to Vincent Winey. He went for the cover, and there you go. Odyssey Jones ended up winning the match. Post-match, the Final Testament ended up coming out. So we had the Authors of Pain, Paul Ellering, Karrion Kross, and Scarlett. They all end up coming out. So Karrion Kross got on the mic. Kross ended up asking if this is another day for the New Day. Kross ended up saying, "We can see Kofi is using Odyssey Jones to replace Big E." And Kross ended up telling Xavier Woods that he sees the truth. And the truth is that Kofi is using Odyssey Jones to replace Xavier Woods. So the fans were chanting, "New Day rocks." So Xavier Woods got on the mic. He ended up telling Karrion Kross that he does his best to try and drive a wedge between them. But it won't work. Xavier Woods ended up saying to cut to the chase and to know which two of them will fight them next week. Kofi ended up interrupting Xavier Woods. He ended up saying if they do that, the one who is not in the match will get involved. So Kofi was like, let's make this a 6-man tag team match. So Karrion Kross ended up saying that the Devil's work is never done. So Cross ended up accepting the challenge. So next week on Monday Night Raw, we're going to be getting a 6-man tag. Karrion Kross and the Authors of Pain of the Final Testament versus Kofi Kingston, Xavier Woods, and Odyssey Jones. And when Kofi ended up interrupting Xavier Woods, he was not happy that Kofi ended up interrupting him. So that Xavier Woods heel turn, is definitely will be coming now, because they're playing that up. Maybe Xavier Woods turns heel next week on Monday Night Raw in that 6-man tag. And he's going to align with the Final Testament. And then we saw Adam Pearce. Adam Pearce was backstage, and Drew McIntyre ended up coming in. Adam Pearce ended up telling McIntyre that CM Punk is not here tonight due to travel issues. McIntyre ended up saying to Pearce that he doesn't care about Punk, and that he is looking at the present. McIntyre ended up saying to Pearce he is wondering why Randy Orton from SmackDown is fighting for the championship. McIntyre ended up saying to Pearce that Orton is a snake in the grass, and he won't strike on his turf. McIntyre ended up saying that he will do Pearce's job tonight and take care of it. McIntyre ended up telling Pearce to trust him and that he will be on his best behavior. And pretty much that was basically that. And then we had the Texas Tornado Tag Team match. The Creed brothers, Bruce and Julius Creed, versus the Alpha Academy, Akira Tozawa and Otis. And the Creed brothers were only on the show tonight. Chad Gable was not there. There was a clip of where Chad Gable was, and he was in Paris for the Olympics. Of course, Chad Gable, was an Olympian, and he was there in Paris to catch the Olympics. And you could tell that they shot that with Chad Gable probably last week, because he said, "I'm in Paris for the Olympics." Well, by the time you're watching this review, it'll be Tuesday. The last day of the Olympics was on Sunday. So you can tell that they probably shot that last week. And I like the new group name for the Creeds and Chad Gable, American Made. I think that's a pretty good name for their group. But I thought this was a very entertaining, good match here. Of course, these tornado tag team matches, or a regular tornado match, everybody's going at it, in the ring. So the match got underway. Otis delivered a back body drop onto both Bruce and Julius Creed. Julius ended up slamming Tozawa on the outside. We had the Creed brothers end up double teaming on Otis in the corner. Julius ended up going for the cover on Otis, but Otis kicked out. So both the Creeds ended up throwing Otis into the corner. Tozawa then climbed on top of Otis' shoulders, and Tozawa jumped onto the Creed brothers, and they ended up falling to the outside of the ring. Otis then lifted Tozawa up, and Otis gorilla pressed Tozawa onto the Creed brothers on the outside of the ring, and then Monday Night Raw into commercial. Then when Monday Night Raw came back from the commercial, we had the Creed brothers were in control of the match. They ended up throwing Tozawa to the ropes. They lifted Tozawa up, but Tozawa delivered a double DDT to the Creeds. Otis got into the ring. He ended up shoulder tackling both the Creeds down. Bruce was down the corner. Julius ended up jumping off the second rope. Otis ended up catching Julius and slammed him to the canvas. Otis then delivered the caterpillar elbow drop onto Julius. He ended up going for the cover, but Bruce ended up breaking up the pin. Otis delivered a clothesline to Brutus. He then lifted Bruce onto his shoulders, but Julius delivered a knee to Otis' face. So we had the Creed brothers end up delivering standing moonsaults to Otis. Julius ended up going for the cover, and Tozawa broke up the pin. That led to Tozawa delivering a Hurricanrana onto Brutus. He then threw Julius to the outside. Tozawa ended up going for a suicide dive onto Julius, but he ended up getting tripped up between the ropes. So later on, we saw Ivy Nile. Ivy Nile was on the outside, and she attacked Maxine Dupree. Ivy then ended up slamming Maxine's face onto the commentary table. Ivy then ended up telling Maxine that she chose this, and that distracted Otis and Tozawa with what was happening out there, with Ivy Nile. And that led to Julius throwing Otis to the outside. Bruce ended up rolling Tozawa up, and there you go. We had the Creed brothers ended up winning the match. And Ivy Nile officially turns heel, aligning with American Made, with Chad Gable and the Creed brothers, which obviously we all knew was coming. But overall, this was a very fun, good Texas Tornado tag team match. The crowd was into it. Enjoyable match. And then we saw Jackie Redmond. This was a pre-recorded interview that they did earlier in the day because the arena was empty. So she ended up interviewing Pete Dunne. Pete Dunne ended up telling Jackie Redmond that he was never under the wing of Sheamus, and that it was Sheamus who was under his wing. And Pete Dunne ended up saying when he was under Sheamus's wing, he had a terrible nickname. Of course, that terrible nickname was Butch, but you all want to forget that. That was a nickname created for Pete Dunne because of Vince McMahon. So he ended up going to say that, and also a front row seat to the Sheamus show. So Pete Dunne ended up asking Jackie Redmond, what happened to Ridge Holland? And we had Pete Dunne ended up saying that he never wants to hear the name of Butch ever again. Well, we don't even want to hear the name as well. You're known as Pete Dunne. That nickname Butch was given to you by Vince McMahon. Because Vince McMahon saw Pete Dunne, and Vince was like, oh, well, I don't want to call him Pete Dunne. How about Butch? Butch is a good name. Let's call him Butch. So Pete Dunne ended up telling Jackie Redmond that if he has to shut Sheamus up to never have him to hear that name again, he will do it. So that was that. That was the interview. But yeah, Pete Dunne, having a pissed off face. Like, why was I ever called Butch? And then we saw Adam Pearce. Adam Pearce was backstage with Bronson Reed. Adam Pearce ended up telling Bronson Reed that Seth Rollins has cracked ribs and internal bruising after Bronson Reed delivered 7 tsunamis to Seth Rollins last week, which I really enjoyed that segment. And the crowd was really into it. So Bronson Reed ended up saying that Adam Pearce did not give him an opportunity, and that he had to take it himself. Reed ended up saying, what better way than to impale everyone's favorite superstar, Seth Rollins. Reed ended up telling Pearce that he can find him an opponent tonight, or he can go find him his next victim. So that was what Bronson Reed had to say to Adam Pearce. Well, we know who Bronson Reed's next victim was, later on in the night. And then we had a video graphic in memory of Kevin Sullivan, who passed away this past week. So thoughts and prayers, go to Kevin Sullivan's family and friends. I haven't seen any of, his matches. I know that he was in WCW, but I haven't seen, his matches, though. But, may he rest in peace. And then we had a Women's Tag Team Championship number one contenders match. The winners will get a shot at Alba Fire and Isla Dawn for the Women's Tag Team Championship, it was Kairi Sane and Io Sky versus the Pure Fusion Collective. And this is Zoe Stark, Shayna Baszler, and Sonya Deville's group name. And I'm still trying to figure out, what is a Pure Fusion Collective? What the fuck? What kind of a name of a group is that? But we did have a appearance by Candice Michelle. Candice Michelle was one of my favorite divas back in the day. That was, when she had the GoDaddy commercials. She was famous for that. She used to do that twirl in the ring where Jerry the King Lawler would be like, "Oh, GoDaddy." And also Isla Dawn and Alba Fire were sitting at ringside. I just didn't care for this match. I mean, who cares? Did you all care? I know 90% of you probably didn't. And you know what? This match ended in a no contest because Isla Dawn and Alba Fire end up coming in and being down on Io and Kairi Sane. So that was that. No contest. What was the point of having this match? This was a waste of time. And then we saw The Miz. The Miz was sitting backstage, and R-Truth ended up coming up to The Miz. R-Truth ended up asking Miz if he is down because he didn't get a match at SummerSlam, or if it's because he lost to the Rock and Roll Express. So Miz ended up telling R-Truth that it was against A-Town Down Under. So R-Truth confused A-Town Down Under, Grayson Waller, and Austin Theory with the Rock and Roll Express. So R-Truth ended up saying that he will cheer Miz up, and that he got Miz in its Intercontinental Championship match against Bron Breakker. So Miz ended up telling R-Truth that Bron Breakker is facing SAMI ZAYN later tonight. R-Truth then pointed to a TV screen, and it was a graphic showing that The Miz will be facing Bronson Reed later on in the night. Miz then told R-Truth that's Bronson Reed, and R-Truth ended up asking Miz if that's the guy that killed Seth last week. So in came Randy Orton. Randy Orton ended up running down The Miz's accomplishments, and Miz ended up telling Randy Orton that he is facing Bronson Reed tonight. Orton ended up asking if that's the guy who killed Seth Rollins last week. Orton ended up saying that he believes in The Miz and that he will win. So The Miz walked away. R-Truth ended up asking Orton if he really believes that The Miz can win. Orton then looked at R-Truth, and then Orton walked away, and that was that. Orton should have been like, "Truth? No. No truth." So that was that. And then Randy Orton ended up coming out to the ring as Monday Night Raw came back from the commercial. So Randy Orton got a big pop from the crowd there in Austin, Texas. They were singing along to his theme music. Randy Orton ended up saying 20 years ago this month, he won the World Heavyweight Championship for the very first time. He ended up saying that he became the youngest world champion in history on that night 20 years ago. He ended up saying in a few short weeks at Bash in Berlin, history will repeat itself. Orton ended up saying that he will become a 15-time World Heavyweight Champion. So then that brought out the Ring General, Gunther. So Gunther ended up coming out, with the World Heavyweight Championship. And Gunther, of course, dressed in a nice black suit. Gunther got into the ring. Orton ended up telling everyone to take a picture, because in a few short weeks, he is going to beat Gunther, and his Friday nights will not be free anymore, and that Monday Night Raw will be his new home. So Gunther ended up saying, "Oh, Orton is right," and to take a picture. because this is Randy Orton, one of the greatest of all time. Gunther ended up telling Orton that he should be the greatest of all time, the most natural and physically gifted talent the industry has ever seen. He had seen unlimited potential, and Randy wasted it. Gunther ended up telling Orton that this is a new era. This is the era of the Ring General, as Gunther would say that. Gunther ended up saying, in this era, there is no room for people that waste their potential. He ended up saying in the future of his era, Orton will not play a role anymore. Orton then ended up saying that he never claimed to be perfect, and that he made mistakes. Orton ended up saying that he has made a lot of mistakes, and he made more mistakes than just about everyone in the locker room. He ended up saying that he owned up to those mistakes. He owned up to them, and he changed course. Orton ended up saying, I'm Randy Orton, the most unpredictable, violent, controversial yet successful WWE superstar in the history of the game. To which Gunther ended up saying, this is a curse. Orton ended up saying that he looks at it as a gift. He ended up saying that he has done it his way, and he always will, the American way. Orton ended up saying that he has 5 beautiful kids at home, and a hot-ass smoke show of a wife waiting for him in St. Louis. And he is a 14, soon-to-be 15-time WWE World Champion. Orton ended up saying that he appreciates Gunther's opinion, but he thinks he has done pretty damn good for himself. So both Orton and Gunther were face-to-face at this point. Gunther ended up saying that that is good with Orton, but he got stuck when he said he is unpredictable. He ended up saying that it is the opposite. He is predictable. Gunther ended up saying that the first prediction is he is going to give him the beating of a lifetime in Berlin. Gunther ended up saying prediction 2 is because of that, Orton will never be World Heavyweight Champion again. Gunther ended up saying when it really matters, Orton always screws it up. He ended up saying that he doesn't want to throw it as an insult because it comes naturally to Orton. So Gunther starts taking a shot at Orton's grandfather and Orton's father, Hall of Famer, Cowboy Bob Orton. So Gunther ended up saying that Orton's grandfather was a screw up, which that pissed off Orton. Orton dropped the mic. Gunther ended up saying that Orton's father, Cowboy Bob Orton, was a screw up. And Gunther then ended up saying that Randy Orton is the biggest screw up of them all. So once again, both Gunther and Orton were face to face. And Drew McIntyre's music ended up hitting. So Drew McIntyre ended up coming out. Gunther then looked at McIntyre. Orton then turned Gunther around. And Orton ended up hitting Gunther with the RKO. So as McIntyre was making his way to the ring, CM Punk jumped the barricade. And he had pinned McIntyre with some right hands. Punk then tried to take the bracelet off of McIntyre, Punk's bracelet, that says his wife AJ on it and his dog Larry. So he tried to take the bracelet, but McIntyre delivered a headbutt to Punk. McIntyre then took his belt off, and he ended up going to hit Punk with the belt. But Punk moved out of the way, and McIntyre ended up hitting the belt on the ring steps. Punk then delivered some right hands to McIntyre. He then grabbed the belt from McIntyre, and Punk then hit McIntyre with the belt. He was just whipping McIntyre with it. McIntyre then got into the ring. Punk continued to hit McIntyre with the belt, and Punk then clotheslined McIntyre in the ring. McIntyre then went to the outside, and he ended up jumping the barricade, and pretty much that was basically that. But overall, I thought this was a very good segment here with Gunther and Randy Orton. And, it's going to be Gunther versus Orton at Bash in Berlin. So it's going to be a good match. And, CM Punk and McIntyre, they're continuing their feud. And with Punk using the belt and whipping McIntyre, could that be a tease that we might see a bull rope match? Maybe. That will probably be the next, match with Punk and McIntyre. Punk versus McIntyre 2. It'll possibly be a bull rope match. So, maybe. Now, I'm just predicting it. It could happen. So, but very good segment it was. And then we saw Jackie Redmond. Jackie Redmond was backstage with Sheamus. Sheamus ended up telling Jackie Redmond that he can't understand why Pete Dunne has a lot of anger towards him. He ended up saying that Pete Dunne blames him for falling off the WWE radar. Sheamus ended up saying, but now Pete Dunne is trying to make himself relevant off his name. So in came Ludwig Kaiser. Kaiser ended up telling Sheamus that this is not over between them, and that he will put an end to Sheamus once and for all. So Pete Dunne ended up hitting Sheamus from behind with the shillelagh, started beating down on Sheamus with it. Officials ended up coming over to break things up between Pete Dunne and Sheamus, and Pete Dunne ended up hitting Sheamus' hand with the shillelagh. So pretty much that was basically that. And then we saw CM Punk as Monday Night Raw came back from the commercial. Punk was walking backstage, and in came Kathy Kelly. Kathy Kelly ended up telling Punk that they were on the same flight from Boston, and there was no delay. So Punk, was able to make it to Monday Night Raw tonight. So that was kind of a tease to throw Drew McIntyre off, thinking that Punk wasn't going to be here tonight. So Punk ended up saying to Kathy Kelly that was him on her flight, and they sat next to each other. Punk ended up saying that he told a little white lie because he knew that if he was going to show up tonight, McIntyre was not going to be there. Punk ended up saying that McIntyre is running around with his bracelet. He ended up saying that McIntyre can keep the bracelet, but it's the names on the bracelet. Punk ended up saying that he went to Glasgow to watch McIntyre embarrass himself. He ended up saying that McIntyre hates his guts, but wants to stay attached to him through the bracelet. So Punk ended up saying that he is glad that he came to Austin, because he thinks he figured out a way to make everyone happy. So Punk then looked at the belt, and he ended up walking away. So, there you go. We might get maybe like a bull rope match or a strap match between Punk and McIntyre. That'll be their next match. Stipulation. And then we had The Miz versus Bronson Reed. And before the match, we saw an appearance from Mark Henry. Mark Henry is back in WWE. He didn't resign with AEW. It's good to see Mark Henry back in the company. And he had his son, Jacob. And they were both sitting at ringside. So, it was good to see Mark Henry. But The Miz versus Bronson Reed, this was pretty much a squash match here. This was just momentum for Bronson Reed to get him more over after he ended up taking out Seth Rollins last week. So the match ended with Bronson Reed climbing to the top rope. He ended up hitting the tsunami on The Miz. And so Bronson Reed ended up going for the cover. And he ended up winning the match. Post-match, Bronson Reed ended up going up to the top to deliver another tsunami to The Miz. But R-Truth ended up getting into the ring. Bronson Reed jumped off the top. And he landed on R-Truth. So pretty much R-Truth was trying to save The Miz. But R-Truth ended up taking the bullet for The Miz. He got the tsunami from Bronson Reed. So Bronson Reed climbed to the top rope again, and officials end up coming out. Bronson Reed delivered another tsunami onto R-Truth. So out came Adam Pearce, and Bronson Reed climbed to the top rope once more. A third tsunami to R-Truth. So pretty much WWE was doing the same thing here with R-Truth that, Bronson Reed, did to Seth Rollins last week. But, it was interesting. I really liked this. But don't have Bronson Reed every single week do the same thing after the match where he hits, a lot of tsunamis. If he does this every single week, it's going to get old really fast. So Bronson Reed climbed to the top rope again. Officials end up trying to move R-Truth out of the way. Adam Pearce stood in front of Bronson Reed, and he told Bronson Reed to get off the top rope. Reed ended up climbing down, and he walked to the opposite side of the ring. And R-Truth was on the opposite side. So Bronson Reed climbed up to the top again, and a fourth tsunami on R-Truth. So Pearce was yelling at Bronson Reed. Bronson Reed just sat down on the ring apron, and Pearce then got out of the ring, and he had telling Bronson Reed to leave. So Reed ended up not listening to Adam Pearce. Reed then climbed back onto the top rope, and he landed another tsunami. That's 5 tsunamis to R-Truth. And pretty much that was basically that. So, just like what Bronson Reed did to Seth Rollins last week, he did it to R-Truth here, so R-Truth is going to be off of TV. But don't have Bronson Reed do this every single week. If he does this every single week to his next victims, it's going to get old really, really fast. So, I don't want to see Bronson Reed do this every single week. And then we had Sami Zayn. Sami Zayn was backstage, and in came Mr. Yeet, Jey Uso. Jey Uso ended up telling Sami Zayn that all he has to do is be himself. So Jey ended up telling Sami to go get the Intercontinental Championship back. Sami Zayn ended up saying to Jey that it's not easy. Jey ended up saying that Sami will beat Bron Breakker. And after that, they will go after the Judgment Day, and they will get their tag team titles back. So, pretty much that was basically that. And as Monday Night Raw came back from the commercial, we got another match made for Bash in Berlin. There will be a mixed tag team match. It will be Damian Priest and Rhea Ripley versus Dominic Mysterio and Liv Morgan. So that's at Bash in Berlin on the 31st. So, want to see what the Bash in Berlin card is as we move forward to the event. So far, there's only 3 matches announced. Gunther versus Randy Orton for the World Heavyweight Championship. Of course, if Orton wins the championship, he will be transferred to Monday Night Raw, and Gunther goes to SmackDown. But obviously, we all know that Gunther is going to retain the title. And then Cody Rhodes versus Kevin Owens for the Undisputed WWE Championship and the Mixed Tag Team match. So 3 matches announced so far for Bash in Berlin. Main event. Bron Breakker versus Sami Zayn. 2 out of 3 falls match for the Intercontinental Championship. Very good match this was. Sami Zayn ended up coming out first, and then Bron Breakker came out. Bron Breakker, before he came to the stage, he cut a promo, as he was still backstage. Bron Breakker ended up calling himself a badass. Now he's going to do what badasses do. He said he hears Austin barking. And so he ended up walking through gorilla position out to the stage. And then he walked down to the ring. and the match got underway. So we had Sami Zayn end up getting the first fall because Sami Zayn ended up delivering the haluva kick to Bron Breakker because Bron ended up backing up into the corner. Sami Zayn easily laid out Bron with the haluva kick. He went for the cover, so Sami picked up the first fall. So after Sami Zayn got the first fall, Bron went to the outside. Sami Zayn delivered some right hands to Bron. Sami Zayn ended up going for a moonsault off the barricade, but he got caught by Bron. Bron ended up running from one side of the ring to the other as he threw Sami Zayn into the timekeeper's area, which that was a hard spot there. That was pretty crazy of Bron throwing Sami into the timekeeper's area. So then Monday Night Raw went to commercial. Then when Monday Night Raw came back from the commercial, Sami Zayn was shown sitting on a turnbuckle. Bron ended up running up, and he had pinned Sami with a Frankensteiner. Bron ended up going for the cover, and Sami Zayn ended up kicking out. So we had Bron end up spearing Sami Zayn. He ran to the ropes. He ended up pinning Sami with another spear. And Bron then delivered another spear. So 3 spears to Sami Zayn. So Bron ended up going for the cover. Bron ended up getting the first fall for himself. So it was tied 1-1. So it was down to sudden death here. So in the end, we had Sami Zayn end up climbing to the top rope. He ended up jumping off the top, but Bron ended up hitting Sami Zayn with the spear in midair. Bron ended up going for the cover, and there you go. Bron Breakker ended up winning the match, still retains the Intercontinental Championship. And that was how Monday Night Raw went off the air. Bron Breakker lifted the Intercontinental Championship up in the air, and Raw ended. But overall, it was a very good main event. Good 2 out of 3 falls match. Bron Breakker and Sami Zayn, their feud, has been, good. Really am enjoying it. But overall, Monday Night Raw was just an okay show tonight. Not as good as last week's show, but wasn't bad. Wasn't a bad show tonight. Just okay. But anyway, that's it for the Monday Night Raw review. Thank you all for watching. Hope you all enjoyed this review. Definitely give the video a thumbs up, comment, subscribe. Be sure to check out my previous video, my DVD Blu-ray 4K Laserdisc update if you guys haven't checked it out. And will not be reviewing Dynamite on Wednesday. I'm actually going to go see the film DD, which I've been looking forward to. I've seen the trailer for it many times, when I went to the theater, and it actually looks like a very good movie, so I'm definitely going to check that out. There will be a review on it, so stay tuned for that. But until then, I'll see you all later.